In this video, I'm going to teach you one of the craziest card tricks of all time. It will absolutely blow away any spectator and make you seem like an absolute pro. And the best part is, at the end of the video, I'm going to show you an extremely easy way to do this that is completely self-working. You don't have to do any moves. Let's take a quick look at the performance. All right, now if Ryan can do this, you guys gotta go crazy. Let's see if you have the touch.
Right. I want to do a trick.
I'm gonna see if you can do a trick.
Okay.
So I'll let you give it one last shuffle, just do the whole thing, just so you're really confident that those are all mixed up. We'll have to work on your shuffle.
I can shuffle a bit. I don't want to do it on the hand, but I can do it on the table.
Yeah, good. That looks good. Okay, so what I want you to do is cut off about half the cards, whatever you want. All right, which half do you want to go with? This one? Okay. So, if we take a look here, again, you can see there's like a pretty good mix of cards. Now, it's important that you guys see that the cards are mixed for this, okay? Because Ryan is going to try to sort of work out this mix. And sort of, you can see it's red, black, all sort of mixed up in all kinds of crazy ways. Now, Ryan, if I were to ask you to split these into the red and blacks, well, it'll be pretty easy. You'd go, right? It'll be very easy if it's all face up, but I'm going to try to teach you how to do it face down, all right?
Okay.
So here's what we'll do. So grab those in your hand just like this, like you're about to deal a game of poker. And all you need to do is feel. Okay, so hold it just like, yeah. And so the trick to getting this is you just have to not think too much and just feel. So you just grab one and you do what you feel. So that top one, what do you feel it is?
I'm feeling red.
Flip it, let's take a look.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. We're going to speed this up a little bit. So we'll put the reds here and the blacks here. Now I want you to just hold it and start dealing face down into red and black. Just whatever you feel. Okay, you can just make two piles. So the reds here and the blacks here. Just start dealing them face down. Red, okay. No blacks.
No black. Actually, how many blacks you got here?
Roughly even center.
We have two blacks in here.
So, at some point I want you to stop.
Yeah.
Now I want you to switch in your mind. So now you're going to put the reds here, start to feel the reds, and start to feel the blacks over here.
These are still blacks or reds though?
We're going to flip both. So the reds were here and the blacks here. Now we're going to flip. So deal with what you think is red here and what you think is black over there. Okay?
Put a couple more here. Okay.
Keep going. Let's go through the whole deck. Yeah.
The whole deck.
Feeling pretty good? Eric, how do you feel? How you feeling about it?
Here's spot armor.
All right, Ryan. So what I want you to do.
Spot armor.
Alright, so you're going to pick up the cards like this, pick up those, and I want to count. Let's just see how many cards we did. So you just count yours like this. 1, 2, 3. Don't look at them yet, but we'll just count them. Okay, so I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15,
16.
16 and 13. So that's pretty good, right?
Okay.
So if I remember, you did red and black over here, and then black and red here. Alright, let's take a look. So far so good. You did red and then black.
Yeah.
Alright, you take these ones, I'll take these.
Okay.
Another one. Another one. Pretty good. Another one.
Okay, we're skipping.
Another one. Another one.
Basically all red.
Another one. That's what you thought, remember? Another one. Another one. And at some point, you switched, right? You went through and you switched, and at the end you switched and you dealt the reds and the blacks.
Very solid. How did I do that?
I don't know. That's pretty good.
I should be hosting this video.
Well done.
Very solid. Very solid. That's free.
What is good, guys? It is Reed and welcome back to another video. Today I have an incredible tutorial for you. This is my handling on an absolute classic and the way that I go about performing, taking ideas from a bunch of different people, the out of this world plot. This is an absolutely killer card trick. Now if you'd like help with any of the moves in this video or anything at all card magic or mentalism related, you can hit me up for a private lesson at the link in the description. I currently have some deals going on where you can actually get some lessons free, so go check that out. Now if you'd like the absolute best mentalism content on YouTube, it is right here on the channel at my mentalism membership linked in the description, or you can join right here. Thank you to all the new members who have joined. They are getting access to brand new mentalism tutorials every single month, going over some of my best material, and there is soon to be hundreds of mentalism effects on there. Absolutely incredible stuff. But without any further ado, let's get right into the tutorial. All right guys, so time for the breakdown for this effect. This is an effect called Out of This World that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. It is an absolutely incredible incredible effect. One of the best sort of self-working impromptu card tricks that you can do. Now I say impromptu because for me, in the way that I do it fully impromptu from a shuffle deck in use. And I know most of you won't do that. In this video, I'm going to share my handling, the way that I've adapted and performed Out of This World for many years. I've taken ideas from all kinds of different people. Of course, Paul Curry, Peter Turner, even Brad Christian at Illusionist. One of the first versions of Out of This World that I saw was off the Street Magic project that Brad Christian did way back in the day. And I've taken some things from that I include in my Out of This World today. So a couple of things that I didn't like about Out of This World that I have adapted with my version. Well, first of all, normally in Out of This World, you'll use the whole deck. And I think the trick gets way too boring when you have to use the whole deck. In the version I originally learned, you also had to count the cards while the spectator was dealing them, and oftentimes you'd lose track because you had to count up to like 24. Then I didn't love the move that you'd have to do at the end of the effect. And finally, it had to be done set up from a setup deck. And so of course, I've developed a way to do it completely without any setup. I've made it easier, more attainable for everyone, as well as getting rid of some of those other problems. And then you'll see the handling points that I use within this routine. So make sure you stick around for this video because I'm going to show you an easy version with none of the tricky moves that is completely self-working that you can do later on in the video. So to start, this is done from a completely shuffled deck in use. So this is very important that you let the spectator shuffle in a routine like this. So you let them shuffle as much as they want. And once they're done shuffling, you're going to invite them to cut off about half of the cards. And I think what's great is using Out of This World with half the cards, it gets the trick along much faster. It's still just as impressive, and it helps with one of the method points as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip that packet face up, and you're going to go through and explain to them that it's important that they see that all of these cards are completely mixed. Now this is where you're going to perform your setup using the cull. Now if you need a tutorial on the cull, I've just recently put out a masterclass guide on my 2024 tips on the cull, which you can go check out up here. And I've also previously done an in-depth tutorial on the cull on the channel. But don't worry, I'm going to teach you a version that's completely self-working a little bit later on. So what you do in this version is I like to count off 7 cards. So as I'm going through, I'm just casually counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once I count off 7, the 8th card I'm going to cull. And whatever color that is the color I'm going to cull the rest of the way. So I cull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to close up like that. And now what I'm left with is the blacks and the reds separated with a 7-card buffer at the top of the deck. Now if you'd like some help culling multiple cards and you'd like to work on your cull, the cull is one of the things that I teach the most in my private lessons. So if you'd like to check out a private lesson at the link in the description, I can help you one-on-one become a master at the cull, because it's not the easiest move in the world, especially when you need to cull multiple cards. Now with that said, because you're only using half the deck and because you skip 7 cards, if we assume 26 minus 7, that puts us at about 18, 19 cards. So we'll say 18, divide that in 2, that's 9. So you'll be culling about 9 cards roughly. So it's really not too many. Now what you're gonna say is if I were to go through now what you say to your spectator is, if I were to go through the cards like this, it would be very easy to separate them into reds and blacks. And I'm just counting off 7 cards here. So I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now I know that I'm split up with the rest of these cards. And I say that was really easy because the cards are face up. And then I'll take those red cards and I'll throw them in the bottom half. So I'll just pull down a couple of cards and put them in the deck, and it just looks random. It looks haphazard, but they're actually going amongst all the red cards. And I'll do the same with the black cards near the top of the deck. And then you tell them this becomes a lot more difficult when the cards are face down. But there is actually a way you can do this. You just have to think about it a bit and try to feel this out. So you hand this to them, and at this point, I like to kind of reiterate, remember, you shuffled these cards, and I'll hand them to the spectator, and I'll say, why don't you take a guess at what that first card is? And then they'll take a guess. They'll say red or black. So let's say they say red. In this case, they flip it over and it's a black card, and you say, okay, you see that is difficult. Now this time, really make sure you focus on it. That's what you'd say if they get it wrong. If they get it right, now it just adds a bit more credibility to the routine, and you say, perfect, you're starting to get the hang of it. And now you're gonna flip that card over and you say, okay, so we'll put the black cards here and the red cards here. So obviously whatever color this card is, you say, put the black cards here and the red cards here. I want you to go and just start dealing, and don't think about it too much. One thing to be careful of, that the spectator doesn't hold the deck too high and they deal like this, and the people in the audience can see the cards they're putting down. So make sure they hold their hand down. One way to get around that would just be to either direct their hand, or you would just say, simply make sure you keep your wrists tilted down and your hands close to the table, because I don't want to spoil the surprise for anyone, right? So now they're dealing through, and once they've dealt, you know, a handful of cards, maybe 6 or so, around that point you would say, now whenever you want, just stop. And they're going to deal for a bit, and at some point they're going to stop. And now whenever they stop, you just say, and at this point, I want you to switch. So if you're dealing black cards here, I want you to start dealing black cards here, and now red cards here, okay? So switch in your mind and just start dealing red cards over here and black cards over here. And now they'll do that. They can deal however they want, but the only thing you need to remember is where that first card went down. So I know the first card went down here, and if that's the case, then this is the packet that's going to be in the correct order. This packet is going to be blacks and then reds, which is exactly what they were instructed to do. Black, and then at some point switch to red. But you'll notice this packet is in the wrong order, because if they dealt black here, then it should be red first and then black, but it's in the wrong order. So we need to switch this around. So the justification is, since they cut off a packet of cards, you don't know how many cards you're working with. So you say, did you count how many cards you happen to deal? And they'll say no, because they never do. Then you say, okay, let me just see roughly how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 14. So we did maybe like 28 cards or so. And in that, you've actually reversed the order, so now it is the correct order, and all you're doing is counting the cards down to the table like that. Now we need to build in a bit of time misdirection, where we're going to start to recap the effect and talk to them about it, to put a bit of time between that little dealing so that they kind of forget about it and they won't realize that we've switched the order. So now you kind of look them in the eye and you say, think about this. You had this shuffled deck of cards, and this is a beautiful subtlety. Take this half of the deck and spread it face up. And now you can show that the deck was all mixed up. And it's a beautiful subtlety that helps really ingrain that this was also mixed up. And you say, think about that. It was a shuffled deck that you shuffled. We saw these cards were completely mixed, and you just tried to feel it out and deal as best you could into those two piles. And so let's see how you did. And now you're gonna remind them that they dealt black first and then red first. So you say, over here, you dealt black first. So let's take a look. And you have the first one right, and over here you should have dealt red first, and that's also the first one. Now you can either hand them a packet and you take one and you'll go through them together, or you can just do it yourself, but then you're gonna say, let's see, black, red, black, red, black, red. And then after you've dealt again another handful, you say, at some point you decided to stop and switch. And you'll deal and you say, and it's right here where you switch to red, and let's see, over here, at this point, you switch to black. And now let's see, you went red, black, red, black, red, black, all the way through a perfect separation of the reds and the blacks. And that is the trick, guys. It is absolutely killer, mind-blowing, incredible, incredible effect. Now I have another version of Out of This World that allows you to, in real time from a shuffled deck, predict every color of the cards, red and black. You can get it perfect. And then you go into an Out of This World after you teach the spectator to do it. You can do that with a non-marked deck, completely regular deck of cards that is genuinely shuffled, and you don't go through and cull anything afterwards. It is absolutely killer. So if you guys want to learn that, drop me a comment and let me know. Now the easy version of this with the setup that is completely self-working would be to split the cards into reds and blacks before you start. So once you split the cards into blacks and reds, you're going to take out a random 7, a good mix of cards. Then you're gonna assemble the reds and the blacks in any order. So you have all the reds and then all the blacks. Then you're gonna have your random bunch of 7 cards, and those go on top. So now you can have the deck. If you know any false shuffles, feel free to do them, but a very simple one is to just pull off cards with your thumb from the top and then throw them right back on top. And as long as you don't go past halfway, you're just shuffling up black cards, right? It's just all black cards, so it's not gonna matter, it's not gonna change. So you can just casually do this and then say, look, I have this deck of cards, they're all mixed up, and you'll just fan the top little bit of cards and it looks like they're all mixed. And now you go into the trick as normal. You say, if I were to go through the cards and separate them into reds and blacks, you know, it becomes a lot more straightforward. You take the cards, put them in the deck at the top, and take these cards, put them in the deck at the bottom. Now you can go through and do the exact same effect with the whole deck. Now if you don't want to use the whole deck, you can invite the spectator to cut off a small packet from the top, and then you say, and then I'll give it a cut somewhere too, and you cut off a big chunk, leaving the small packet from the bottom. You assemble those two. You can even give them a quick shuffle so that later on you can do that subtlety of showing that they were all mixed. And then you should be left with a middle section of red and black cards, and then you can go into the separation exactly as we described earlier, and you can still finish with this nice subtlety of showing the deck all mixed up. So that is the easy version that is completely self-working. Now, if you'd like to learn an incredible trick where you can turn a blue deck of cards into a red deck of cards right in front of the spectator, click here and you can learn that incredible trick. All right, guys, that is it from me. I hope you love this tutorial. If you would like help with any of the moves in this video, particularly the call, like I said, I do a ton of private lessons on the call. I've worked with dozens of people on their call, bringing them from not being able to call any cards to being able to call an entire deck. You can check out some private lessons at the link in the description. I also have some deals going on currently, so do not miss out. And if you'd like to learn some of my best mentalism material, it's right here on the channel at the Mentalism membership, linked in the description. With all that said, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.